Hello everyone, this is Rachel, and today I'm here with teacher Alex.
Hello everybody, I'm very happy to be here.
What are we chatting about today, Alex?
We are chatting about something you already know about, storm chasing.
Can you explain what storm chasing is?
Well, when there are storms like rainstorms, lightning storms, snowstorms, tornadoes, and other things like that, some people will chase them. For example, you are a snow chaser, right?
Yes, during the Chinese New Year, me and my family went to Hehuanshan to see the snow. It happened to be a heavy snow day, and we were very lucky. This was our second time visiting Hehuanshan, and it is a very famous snow viewing spot in Taiwan. The Snow White world was like a painting. It was incredibly beautiful.
I know that seeing snow in Taiwan is very rare, so having fun in the snow with your family must be a really amazing memory. Did you need to prepare a lot of items in advance, or did you just go in the car and start chasing the snow?
Snow chasing can be exciting, but it also requires careful planning and safety precautions. Winter storms can be unpredictable and dangerous. So, proper preparation, including having the right gear, a reliable vehicle, and a solid understanding of weather patterns, is essential.
That's awesome. I always miss the snow when I'm in Taiwan, so when I want to see it, I need to go somewhere like Japan. So maybe I should be a snow chaser too, so I can save some money, so I don't need to fly to a different country.
You should. I know you have snow in Canada, right? But city snow and mountain snow offer very different experiences.
Really? I mostly have experienced city snow. And when you're in the city, when it first falls down, it's really beautiful and nice. But after the cars have driven on it or it has gotten warm, it can be very slushy and very messy. And it makes driving really, really difficult. But in your experience, what is mountain snow like?
Oh, it's completely different. Mountain snow feels so fresh and untouched. Everything is covered in a thick white blanket, and the air is so crisp. It's peaceful and beautiful, like stepping into a winter wonderland.
That sounds amazing. City snow can lose its magic pretty quickly because after a day or two, it will be gray and dirty, and also falling down in the snow is not very fun. But in the mountains, I know it feels a lot more natural. The snow stays white and it's very beautiful.
Exactly. Walking through fresh mountain snow is so relaxing, and the view is breathtaking. Plus, you can do fun things like playing in the snow without worrying about traffic or slush everywhere. But before you start driving into the mountains, let's talk about today's article. Today's topic is about tornadoes. I really love movies about them. They are so exciting.
Yes, we're reading an article about storm chasing, and we are talking about why people want to chase storms. But let's start with you. Why do you chase snow?
Oh, I chase snow because I love the beauty of it, the quietness it brings, and the fun of playing in it. But the thing is, snow chasing is not really dangerous because the weather is usually not too extreme. The people in the article are chasing big, scary storms and tornadoes. That's the whole different level of risk.
Yeah, the people in the article are definitely brave and maybe a little crazy, but they do chase storms for a reason. They want to understand the weather. For example, it is hard to know exactly why tornadoes happen, and these storm chasers try to understand why.
I think their life must be intense. Alex, do you know what a typical day of storm chasing looks like?
Well, the article says their day usually starts with a good breakfast because once the team heads out, they might not have time to eat later. They analyze weather data from the National Weather Service and other places to figure out where the tornadoes are most likely to start.
That makes sense. So, once they pick a location, do they just wait for the tornado to appear?
Sort of. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. They need to get into a position quickly so they are close to where they will start, but then they might spend hours just watching their screens and looking at the storms to see which ones will become tornadoes. And they also have to decide when and where to finally start going and chasing the tornadoes, which is tricky. If they go too early, they might miss the tornado. If they go too late, they could be in danger.
Wow, that sounds stressful. I didn't realize how difficult it is. What do they do once a tornado actually forms?
That is when the real action begins. The team will move into position and they will have weather balloons, they have instrument pods in the tornado's path, and they will use their radar, the screens, to look at the data from multiple angles.
That's crazy, but isn't it incredibly dangerous? I mean, I've seen those movies like Twister and the new one, Twisters, and the storm chasing looks terrifying.
Although those movies make the tornadoes look really scary, something in the article really surprised me. They said the most dangerous thing about chasing storms is driving. Some scientists even drive into the storms with special car-mounted equipment. Have you ever been driving in terrible weather?
Oh, not really. But in Taiwan, we have typhoons, which bring crazy wind and rain. Driving during a typhoon is no joke. Roads flood, trees fall, and the visibility is almost zero. I can't even imagine what it's like driving near a tornado.
Yeah, tornadoes add a whole new level of chaos. In the article, they mentioned that storm chasers often have to drive through really crazy, unpredictable conditions, like sudden changes in the wind's direction, or sometimes flash flooding. And sometimes they're driving on dirt roads that turn into mud pits during heavy rain. It's not just about getting close to the tornado, it's about surviving the journey to get there.
That sounds so stressful. And speaking of tornadoes, the article tells about how unpredictable they are. Tornadoes can form in minutes and change direction without warning. That must make it so hard for storm chasers to stay safe.
Exactly. And the article explains that tornadoes are born from something called supercell thunderstorms. And supercell thunderstorms are these really big, rotating storms. But even with really, really advanced technology, it's hard to know exactly where and when a tornado will touch down and begin spinning on the ground. Storm chasers rely on radar and weather information, but there's always an element of uncertainty. They never really know where and when it will start.
That's so fascinating, but also terrifying. The article also mentions that tornadoes can vary so much in strength, right? Some are weak and only last a few minutes, while others are massive and can stay on the ground for hours.
Yes, well, I am going to pretend I am a tornado expert, although I only have read the article. But the article says that is part of what makes tornadoes so dangerous. There is a scale called the Enhanced Fujita Scale, or EF scale, and it measures how intense a tornado is based on how much damage they cause. In other words, they look at how much stuff breaks or is damaged because of tornadoes. For example, an EF0 tornado might just knock down some tree branches, but an EF5 tornado can ruin an entire neighborhood. The article tells us that storm chasers often target the really strong tornadoes because they're the ones that provide the most data, but they're also the most destructive.
It's amazing how much risk these storm chasers take on for the sake of science. The article also talks about how they use special equipment like drones and mobile radar units to study tornadoes up close.
Yeah, and the technology has come a long way since the early days of storm chasing. Now they can collect data in real time on things like the speed of the wind, the air pressure, and the temperature inside a tornado. And this information helps meteorologists, the people who study the weather, improve their weather models and give people better warnings before the tornadoes hit.
It's incredible how much we've learned, but it's still such a dangerous field. Even experienced storm chasers have close calls with death. One wrong move and you could be in serious trouble.
Absolutely. And that's why storm chasing isn't something you just decide to do on a whim. It takes years of training, knowledge, and respect for the power of these storms. Speaking of storms, Rachel, are there tornadoes in Taiwan?
There are, but they're pretty rare. What about in Canada?
There are definitely tornadoes in Canada, but I am very lucky. They are not really in my city, but some parts of the USA have a lot of tornadoes.
They sound terrifying. I've heard stories about tornadoes picking up cars, houses, even cows.
Yeah, I think they're pretty scary, and I know friends who have had to hide because of tornadoes before. And I've also always heard that tornadoes are scary because sometimes the tornado will pick these things up and then those things can hit you. So the wind is not the scary thing. It is what is in the wind that is scary.
Well, I think we are pretty lucky we haven't really seen tornadoes.
Definitely. But we have both experienced natural disasters. For example, in 2013, my city had a really big flood. A flood is when the water level is too high and the water goes into homes and destroys parts of the city. And near my city, we often have forest fires. So nowadays, sometimes in summer, the sun looks red because the sky is so full of smoke.
Why are there so many fires?
Because in my part of Canada, it is really dry, so hot summers can cause fires. And because of global warming, there are more and more fires every year.
That's so scary. I don't love Taiwan's humidity, but at least we don't have to worry about wildfires. Instead, we deal with earthquakes and typhoons. Have you ever experienced those?
I have. Last year, I felt the big earthquake, and it was really scary.
I know what you mean. Earthquakes are so unsettling because there's no warning. I hope we never experience another one like that. Among all nature disasters, I think earthquakes are the most terrifying.
Me too. It's crazy how different parts of the world face such different natural disasters. But it's also fascinating how people adapt and prepare for them.
Definitely. And they bring us back to storm chasers. They are not just seeking excitement. They are helping us understand these extreme weather events so we can be better prepared.
Exactly. It's a risky job, but their work is so important. And it's not just about science. It's about saving people's lives.
I have so much respect for what they do, but I think I will stick to chasing snow. It's much less scary.
Me too. I will take a snowstorm over a tornado any day. And, well, that's all the time we have for today. So thank you everybody for joining us. And stay safe out there, whether you're chasing storms, snow, or just trying to avoid natural disasters.
Alright, Alex, do you have 3 words to share from today's podcast?
I do. So here we go. Word number 1 is natural disaster.
Natural disaster, 天然灾害.
Word 2 is flood.
Flood, 洪水.
And number 3 is tornado.
Tornado, 龙捲風.
And for our practice sentence, there are many types of natural disasters like floods and tornadoes. All right, it is time for our discussion question. And the question is, what weather do you think is the scariest? Heavy rain? Heavy snow? Hot weather? What do you think is the scariest weather? Write down your answers and send your worksheet to the Google form. You may win a big prize later. For more information, please visit the Taoyuan ETRC website or Facebook page.
同学们听完本周的 Podcast 后，欢迎投稿你们的学习单。投稿的 Google 表单连结，请见桃园市英语教学资源中心脸书或官方网站。只要投稿一次就有抽奖机会哦！每次段考抽好礼，期末加码抽大礼。
Thank you so much for joining us today, everybody.
This program is sponsored and brought to you by Taoyuan ETRC.
See you next time.
Goodbye.